I think we're live.
Live.
Welcome, everyone. Super excited to be live with you today. So we're trying something new, a little bit of push live on the Facebook group for two reasons. One, wanted to have a good conversation with Randy Fox. We're going to introduce in a minute here. Some of you have had an opportunity to work with Randy in the past. And if you haven't, I hope you get an opportunity because he's a phenomenal expert and pleasure to work with. We also wanted to make sure everybody knows Randy is one of the speakers at the Elite Growth Academy. Jenna, I know you're flying out for the Elite Growth Academy.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm so excited.
We will be live in San Diego.
Woo.
We are very excited about this, November 4th and 5th in San Diego for the Elite Growth Academy. 16 CPE credits for CPAs. If you're not a CPA, you're an advisor or an accountant, enrolled agent, etc. You still got to come out. I mean, it's San Diego. Jen and I will be there. Randy Fox will be there. We'll have a bunch of panel discussions, other experts, thought leaders, technical specialists. So we are looking forward to it. If you haven't got your ticket yet, elitegrowthacademy.com. Go there and get your ticket. Jenna, let's talk a little bit about Randy Fox here. Do you mind doing an introduction to the community?
Of course, my pleasure, as always. So introducing Mr. Randy Fox, nationally known wealth strategist and philanthropic estate planner, educator, and speaker. He has dedicated his career to helping individuals and businesses do well while doing good. He is currently the editor-in-chief of the Planned Giving Design Center and is raising $10 billion for charity. So Randy, always a pleasure to have you, and super excited to finally meet you in person at the Elite Growth Academy this November.
Yeah, it'll be fun to be there. It'll be my first live real meeting in a long time, I think.
Ours as well.
All these faces over the internet are going to turn into real people.
Yeah.
So yeah, for the members who haven't met you, obviously there's the formal background with impressive numbers and having worked with you and a number of our advisors and accountants in the community. I know you're just a phenomenal expert. But maybe just tell them a little bit about your background and kind of, how you came about to be this, in essence, hired gun for more advanced planning opportunities.
I'll give you the short version because the long version is really boring. But I did have my own retail financial planning practice starting, I was a partner with a couple of other guys starting in 1984 in suburban Chicago. And I did that for a number of years. I was partners with them for 12 years, and I'm still good friends with both of them. Matter of fact, expecting a birthday call from my old partner tomorrow. It sort of wasn't exciting for me because it was static. Everything was always sort of the same. Our clientele was the same. And one of the things I learned about myself looking back is I'm really lousy at finding clients. I'm really good at planning for clients, but finding higher net worth clients and marketing and all that it takes to get in front of high net worth people, I had no contacts. I had no capacity for doing that, but I did know other advisors who could do that, and they would always come to me and ask for answers. So I ended up doing a lot of joint work with a lot of guys, and that led to my just going out with a partner and starting a business where our model was advisor to advisor. And we did that for a number of years, I would say, with a pretty good level of success. We parted ways a few years ago. He and I, again, still know each other pretty well. Anton introduced me to, he introduced me to you as he moved on to another career. And it's what I enjoy the most because I get to do what I do best. I'm sort of in my unique ability, which is to be able to help other people tackle problems they can't quite come up with the best solution for.
Love it. So before we get into specifically what you're going to be sharing with us at the Elite Growth Academy, one of the things you've talked to Jen and I about in the past is the fact that there's actually quite a big need in a marketplace that I feel like a lot of people just assume like, oh, wealthy clients, affluent clients, like they're so well taken care of. But you've actually pointed out that that's not quite the case.
I have to tell you, in my experience, and this is now going on 15 years of my experience, working with a marketplace between, I want to say $10 million and $150 million, that market is so totally underserved, not unserved and underserved. It's dramatic how bad the planning is for those particular clients.
So,
And
so let me just pause that for a sec, because I know this is like,
okay,
there's got to be somebody on the live stream. So clients with, and we're talking net worth here, 10 million to 150 million of net worth, from your experience, are totally underserved.
And let me tell you why I think that is. And this is just my anecdotal evidence, again, from doing several hundred cases over the years. Most of them are either business owners or real estate owners. Business owners, all of their money is tied up in their business. They generally have no assets to manage, and they have no relationship with the big money management firms. So no one helps them. Their attorney is the guy who does their corporate minutes every year, if they do corporate minutes every year, and their accountant is often the guy who does their tax return and nothing more. Real estate people, the same thing. All their money's always in real estate. Always, always, always. Matter of fact, you can hardly ever get real estate people out of real estate. They don't understand anything else. So they're illiquid. And again, they know what they know, but there's no one out there helping them with the complex matters of estate planning or tax mitigation or any of the things that this group knows how to do so well. And so they're untouched. And I find day after day, week after week, I have 2 cases right now. The clients are in the $40 million range. Their estate documents are 15 years old. They're bad. They say the wrong thing. They save not a dime of tax. I have had a call just before we got on today with a $100 million client in California, no plan in place. And I have a call at 6 o'clock tonight with a $37 million client out in California, no plan in place. It's not just me. It can't just be me, right?
Yeah.
Those opportunities are out there for everybody. And if you bring them to the table, we can help. That's the thing, is there's not a problem we can't address if it's addressable.
So these clients you're referencing, I mean, what are their CPAs doing, or their advisors doing, or just nothing, or like the minimal amount?
CPAs do their tax returns.
Yeah.
Sometimes they tell them to go get stuff done, but they don't do it. No one,
qualified plan.
Yeah, set up a qualified plan, or just put more money in your qualified plan, and create, push the problem down the road. As a matter of fact, the $37 million client in California has $7 million in his qualified plan. He's 85 years old. How do you solve that one? His kids are going to have to take out $700,000 a year minimum, put them in a high tax bracket, consume all the capital to screw things up badly. It's just, I can't make this stuff up. I promise. All these cases are real. They happen every day.
Yeah.
And again, they don't have an attorney. They don't have an accountant. If they have an advisor, some of them are do-it-yourselfers. They might have some guy who's managed on $100,000 at Merrill Lynch because he played golf with them once. They're not planners. They're not doing planning for those clients.
Yeah. So let's just talk, and I know this is kind of pivoting a little bit, but part of the conversation I'm hoping you're going to have at the Elite Growth Academy is, like, what does it mean when you say they're not planners or they're not doing planning? Some people have a definition of planning, and I think yours is a little bit more robust.
Well, my idea of planning is very comprehensive. So, my goal with every client whose estate I work on is to minimize their income taxes by repositioning whatever assets need to be repositioned properly, and not to reduce their estate taxes, but to totally eliminate their estate taxes. And that's possible with virtually every single client, unless they've already done some things that we just can't undo, and if they're willing to go along with the plan. And sometimes that plan involves adding some liquidity to make up some shortfalls, and we do that using any one of the number of insurance structures. But assuming our clients are in good health and cooperative and wanting to go forward, I think, to me, a plan needs to be buttoned up, completed, all the documents signed, all the trust funded, all the assets transferred, all the appraisals, all the values appraised, any gift tax returns filed, signed, sealed, and delivered. That's planning to me. Everything else is kind of a tactical fix a problem briefly, and that's important. But you really have to look at the big picture to really understand the client, their family, the dynamics. The two families, both of whom have complained that their kids don't handle money well, both with significant wealth in the 40 to $50 million range. All of their trusts say we're distributing money to the kids at ages 25, 30, and 35. Yeah, but we don't trust them. Well, then
So bad.
why are you doing that? No. And oh, by the way, you're putting it back in their estate and back subject to divorces and back subject to the claims of their creditors. Why are you doing that? Because they don't know any better. No one taught you. They have no one to talk to. Crazy.
Yeah.
People that have been powerful business owners, many of us are afraid of. I have a good colleague who's just intimidated by wealthy people.
And so that's kind of I'm glad you're going there, because I think that's something we see fairly consistently. One is what I wanted to tackle right up front, the assumption that like, oh, they're wealthy, so therefore everything's probably already taken care of. They probably have this incredible team and blah, blah, blah. Not the case. And two, they're intimidated by. So like, I don't know your background, but I was raised by two elementary school professionals and, fairly middle-class America. And the idea of a wealthy individual, like I wasn't around a lot. So when I first started meeting mentors and getting into this space of the virtual family office and working with business owners, it was intimidating. It just took a little while to realize like they actually needed us as much as we need them.
Well, and the thing is that I think the confidence comes, the confidence to be in front of a wealthy client, if you don't have it internally, comes from the fact that you have people behind you that you don't need to know everything. When Bank of America US Trust does their survey of wealthy families, they will tell you that they don't care if their advisor is the single source of information. They want one point of contact, but if that advisor turns to other professionals to help them, they're happy about that. So if you can go and look at a wealthy person and say, well, listen, I don't know all the answers, but I have a team behind me, and that team has all the experience in the world, and we can bring to bear all the resources you need to get the job done, and that's my promise. You can't lose that fight.
Yeah.
Can't lose that fight.
Yeah. I love it.
That's so well said.
So that's a great discussion. Looking forward to that. And then you talked about comprehensive planning and what does like holistic and comprehensive actually look like for you. And then you mentioned a tactical strategy and kind of separating the two. So part of what we constantly battle is we do want to educate the community enough to be aware of a tactical strategy, but then only to the point to recognize that a client has a need or a problem, be conceptually aware, then find an expert like yourself. So how do you balance like how much you want to educate on tactical strategies versus?
Well, I think tactical things are important. Sometimes what we have to do is fix a problem, and fixing that problem leads to a further engagement, right? You did this for me, I now trust you. So let me show you more of what I have, and maybe we can talk about more things, right? And that's often a great way to start the relationship with a client. Is you pull the thorn out of their paw. They have a certain pain. They've sold the business, or they're selling the business, or a client 2 or 3 years ago, called up in November and said, oh, by the way, sold my business for $20 million this year, and they tell me I owe a bunch of money in taxes. Can you guys help me? Well, that helping him saved him $3 or $4 or $5 million of taxes, which that advisor is now managing that money and is now managing all of that client's money. So, you have to start the relationship someplace. In a perfect world, we'd all start with, oh yeah, you're going to hire me to do a complete and total plan. Well, not everybody wants to do that to begin with, and understandable. But they do want a problem fixed. And if we can fix the problem, then let's fix the problem and then see what else we can do.
Yeah, love it. And then any plans for tactical discussions while we're together at?
Well, one of my hot topics is of course philanthropic planning. And by the way, I said 10 billion for charity because my lifetime total has been about $1 billion. And I will say that I'm on track this year. If a couple things fall right, that I could do close to $1 billion this year.
Yeah,
which is
Amazing.
that is
and I haven't really done anything except for just sort of tell people.
Yeah.
But it's a little, if you build it, they will come. And so we're going to talk a lot about the pooled income fund and the sort of variations of the pooled income fund that we have, and how we can use it in cases where you might have wanted to use monetized installment sale transaction. It doesn't fit in all of them, but it will do a pretty good job a lot of the time to take its place and provide some additional benefits in the right facts and circumstances. So, and again, the pooled income fund is a charitable vehicle. I've spent 5 or 6 or 7 years kind of parading around the country talking about it. All of that is starting to pay off in sort of in spades right now. As the, my typical pooled income funds were $500,000 or $1 million or something like that. This year, I'm talking from people from 5 million to 100 million. And in fact, I think today, a client that I've been working on for 4 years finally agreed to part with 25 million of his $250 million. So, those are all important big steps. It just takes time, and it takes education, and it takes comfort. Most of the planning community is familiar with the age-old CRT, which is what I cut my teeth on. The books I read back when I learned about CRTs, if there was anything about pooled income funds, it was a paragraph or two. But we've sort of reinvented the pooled income fund in the way it's being offered to the public now. So, it's got bells and whistles that pooled income funds didn't used to have, just like, calculators used to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Now you get one for free if you open a bank account. Do they still do that, by the way?
I don't know.
That's
I think it's just on your phone.
remember when a hard drive or things came on floppy disk? Now they give away thumb drives that have more memory than my first computer. Showing my age, but my age is apparent anyway. So.
Yeah. We should have like free calculators for everybody that comes to the elite.
Yeah, I think we ought to give away like the
old ones with the big buttons.
the $9 calculators. The good ones did square root. I remember the very first calculator I saw. I was attending the Cornell Hotel and Restaurant School, and there was a Singer calculator that was just an LED calculator, and it was $650. And I went back to Chicago, and I said, we got to get one of those. We're using adding machines. I'm old.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, you could get one of these for $650 or less now.
I
think it can do a calculation.
I think it does calculate.
I love it. That's exciting. So, and then the CRT you referenced, Charitable Remainder Trust, just for anybody watching that's not familiar with that acronym, and the pooled income funds, they're not as well known across the industries, but
pooled income funds have only been run by public charities. So Harvard, Princeton, Yale, the Lutheran Church, they all run pooled income funds, but they're closed communities. So when you give money to the Harvard Pooled Income Fund, Harvard manages the money. When you die, all your money goes to Harvard. Great if you're a Harvard grad, not so great if you're me. So you're not gonna talk to them about giving them your closely held business interests, because they're not even gonna think about it. They won't take it.
Yeah.
And if you want to have your investment advisor manage the money for you, forget about it. Harvard's not gonna let you do that.
Yeah.
So creating a charity that faces the client and faces the advisor is really different. And so, that's what's being done now, and that's something to take advantage of.
Yeah, I love it. No, it's going to be a great discussion. I want to know if there's anybody live right now on Facebook that's Googled pooled income funds since we've been on together. I'm gonna guess that's a yes. At least one.
Most of the articles you'll find have been written by me, but not all of them.
Mr. Fox. Very good. Let me think. Is there anything else we want to talk about while we're together here?
I'm waiting for you to ask me questions. So whatever is on your mind.
No, I think it's going to be a good conversation. So, I mean, it will start with a little bit of a more in-depth discussion around what planning looks like, why clients actually need planning, why the 10 million to 150 million net worth clientele is actually underserved, get into a little bit more of a tactical discussion. We'll go into more details, I assume, about the pooled income funds and
Right.
what they actually kind of look like and what type of clients we should be considering for them, what the
And
outcome is.
we've got a couple of new developments there too that I should be ready to unleash by the time we get to San Diego.
Love it. I look forward to hearing it.
Analyze
Very good.
people. And I'm really excited because as much as I've enjoyed the Zoom meetings and the individual contact that I've had with the people, there's nothing like being face to face and sitting around chatting and finding out about people's practices and what they do and where we can plug in to help them. That's what's really fun for me anyway.
Yep. I completely agree. I mean, we do, I don't know how many Zooms a week, but there is something to getting together in person. We've had to cancel the last two because of COVID. So, it'd be great to be in person. We'll be in San Diego. We'll be mindful of COVID. They've reduced the size of the event a little bit. So I'm expecting we do hit capacity with that. But the happy hours, lunches, we'll do a lot of stuff outside in San Diego. November, the weather should be nice. So
yeah, in San Diego, almost any time of the year, the weather's nice. So
it's not a bad place. It's not a bad
place.
Yeah. Well, very good. I'm certainly looking forward to seeing you in person, Randy, and Jenna, of course. And
very excited.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jenna, have you posted the link in the Facebook
did.
group? Can you? Perfect.
In the chat of our live right here. So again, it's elitegrowthacademy.com. It is November 4th and 5th.
November 4th and 5th. Tickets are $4.95. And that includes meals. We'll do a happy hour reception. What else?
Man, $4.95. That's cheap.
That's it. That's a steal, right?
Just to hang with you, Randy, I'd pay that.
Oh, good. I'm worth at least $4.95.
2 zeros behind that, but in the ballpark. But yeah, I had a good conversation, I think 2 days ago with an advisor who, Randy, you've done some work together on one of his larger clients. I think we give him the code name of a well-known actor, but
yes.
Yeah, he was saying the other day, is like, just to come down and spend 2 or 3 days with, Randy and some of the other thought leaders there. It's like, I mean, that in and of itself, it's like, if I want to be a professional basketball player and play at my highest potential, and I've got an opportunity to hang out with, the top NBA players in the country, but I'm not going to fly out and have an opportunity to sit down with them, maybe buy them a gin and tonic or a glass of wine or beer after the event and pick their brain. It's like, see, that's what you don't get on Zoom. I mean, it's great. You shut it down and I'm 2 minutes, I'm playing with my kids on the trampoline, but I'm not at the bar talking with everybody. And
yeah, no, I always say the best conversations at conferences happen in the hallways.
Yeah.
Forget the main stage stuff, forget the breakout rooms, talking to people in the hallways, finding out what they're doing in their business, finding out how they're getting clients, how they're working with the CPA group, what they're thinking about. That's really where the rubber meets the road. That's been my experience. And listen, I'm the ultimate introvert. I'd much rather be up in my room, but I force myself into those situations and those one-on-one conversations. I have good colleagues and good friends that I met 25 years ago at a meeting, and have maintained those relationships for my entire professional career. And that's really worth it, because I can pick up the phone and call them and get ideas from them all day.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well said. Love it. All right. Well, very good. We've kept you on long enough. Jenna, thanks so much.
Of course. Thanks so much, Randy. It was great speaking to you as always. Super excited to see you in November. And then hopefully anyone who has been watching along with us, elitegrowthacademy.com. Thanks, Anton.
Absolutely.
You guys.
See ya. Talk to everyone soon. Look forward to seeing you in San Diego.